wonderful things you can find when you're searching through your closet. Woo! Hi everybody, I am Tiffany, and today I will be reviewing The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers book and movie review, because both are awesome and I want to compare and contrast because I just finished this book recently and I love the movie. I'm dressed like this beautiful gown that I found I did not know I had in my closet because I am sort of an elf. I had elf ears, but I can't find them, so you're gonna have to deal with that, I'm sorry. I have a beautiful dress that Arwen would probably wear. If you watch Lord of the Rings, you know exactly, hopefully, who I'm talking about. If you can't tell already, I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. I did jump kind of late on the bandwagon, but at least I got on it and loved it. And it's spectacular and you should watch it and nerd out with me, because if you're a fantasy lover, this is all your fantasy dreams. Oh. I watched the movies first before I actually read the books because I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean, and then I loved Orlando Bloom, and I loved Johnny Depp, and so I had this thing where I wanted to watch both of their movies. So I was looking at Orlando Bloom, and I was like, what has he been in besides Pirates of the Caribbean that's really, really good? And I saw he was on Lord of the Rings. I had never watched it, but it had Orlando Bloom, and so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. There's much more than Orlando Bloom that makes it awesome, okay? But I decided to give it a chance, and oh my gosh, it was so good. I fell in love. I fell in love full-heartedly. I watched all 3 of the movies. Yes, there are 3. Well, what do you do once you are out of movies to watch and behind-the-scenes stuff to watch? Because I have like a giant disc set of behind-the-scenes for Lord of the Rings. You go out and you buy the books and you read them. I read The Fellowship and The Hobbit. I read them way like in middle school, and I never finished. And I saw these on my shelf, and I was like, I gotta finish the last 2 books because Lord of the Rings deserves that. It deserves that honor from me, okay? It's so good. When I read this book, I wasn't planning to do a movie review on it, but I was reading this and I was like, it'd be so much more fun if I combined them. And I think I'm gonna start doing that more. Like if there's a book that I read and I know there's a movie for it, that I read the book and watch the movie and compare and contrast and let you know how I feel about it. And it gives me an excuse to read and watch a movie. For those of you who for some reason have never heard of Lord of the Rings or have no idea what it's about, it follows this character named Frodo and his journey, and he has to try and destroy the One Ring, which is controlled by this evil guy named Sauron. The whole thing is about them trying to get the One Ring to this place called Mordor, which is where Sauron is, and destroy the ring so that Sauron can be defeated. So you have a bunch of characters in here, which is really great, and you have a bunch of different types of creatures. Like Frodo's a hobbit, and then you have elves, and you have dwarves, and trolls, and trees, and ents, and everything. Orlando Bloom is Legolas, by the way, who's my favorite character in here, not just because it's Orlando Bloom, but Legolas kicks butt. Ask like anybody who's watched it. Legolas is amazing. So is Aragorn. The Two Towers is the 2nd book in the series. So if you haven't read or watched these movies, you really should. Go watch the movies. And if you really love fantasy, you'll love this. The reading can be a little bit daunting or difficult. I sometimes had trouble a little paying attention because it has such vast descriptions, and that's really good, but sometimes you want to get to the action a little bit and it's describing this vast landscape. You should definitely read it, but go at least watch the movies because the movies are spectacular. They were Oscar nominated. The 3rd one won Best Picture, people. Go watch them and then fall in love with Lord of the Rings like I did. If you haven't read or watched any of the movies, or if you haven't read or watched this movie or read this book, I really suggest you leave because I'm gonna spoil, because I'm gonna compare and contrast. If you don't want to be spoiled and you want to be surprised to your heart's content, I suggest you go. Oh, let me give you some statistics real quick, actually, before you go. Oh my god, look! It's Legolas on the cover! The Two Towers got a 4.40 on Goodreads for books. And for Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, the movie, it got an 8.7 out of 10 on IMDb. And it's won 2 Oscars and been nominated for a bunch of others. For those of you who like the actors, it stars Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, Viggo Mortensen, and Orlando Bloom, of course. And it has a bunch of other people: John Rhys-Davies, Liv Tyler, Kate Blanchett, Dominic Monaghan, who's from Lost. So many people. So go watch it because it's amazing and spectacular. If the ratings don't convince you, I don't know what else to tell you. You're missing out. Non-spoilery people, I really do suggest you go now because I'm going to spoil you willy-nilly. Have fun, go read and watch the movies, and then come back and we can discuss. Alright, bye non-spoilery people. Goodbye. See you in Middle-earth a little later. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Like I said, it is the second book in this trilogy. I was really excited to read this, and overall it was a really great book. I really enjoyed it. The movie is spectacular, of course. What was really interesting to me throughout was the timeline. In the movie, it cuts between all these different stories. So you have Pippin and Merry, who are captured by the orcs and end up going into the forest. And overlapping that, you see Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas. You see them chasing after them and trying to get back Merry and Pippin. And then you also have Frodo and Sam, who are traveling to Mordor by themselves. So you have these 3 stories that they interweave. They do that beautifully in the movie. All of this stuff is happening all at the same time. In the book, it's different. The timeline, you could say, is still the same, but it's not like one chapter is Merry and Pippin, then one chapter is Aragorn and the others, and then one chapter is Sam and Frodo. It focuses on one section completely at a time. First, you'll focus on Merry and Pippin and their whole journey, and you'll get all the way through to Ents going to destroy Isengard, which is awesome, by the way. And then the next few chapters are Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas going on their search. And then it still continues to where they find Gandalf, and then you have the battle. You're halfway through the book and you're already done with the big battle at Helm's Deep, which takes up a big majority of the movie at the end of it. And the way they separate it is you have book 3 and 4. So it'll say book 3 has about 10 chapters, and then it'll say book 4. So book 3 really focused on Merry, Pippin, Legolas, Gimli, Aragorn, Gandalf, all of that. And book 4 focused solely on Sam and Frodo's journey with Gollum. So it was really interesting because you would get ahead of the movie, but then you backtrack to where they are. I think both ways are really cool, but it really helped to center on one thing in the book at a time so you could focus on that. The movie, they just do a really great job of intermingling it. Also, with the timeline though, which was really weird, is that the Fellowship book, it finished earlier than the movie did, which is kind of strange. The movie was a little bit ahead of the Fellowship. This book actually starts out with Boromir dying. He's not dead yet. He hasn't said his last words yet. I thought the movie was going to be ahead the whole time, but then it kind of changes. At the end of this book, Frodo and Sam have already passed through Shelob's lair, the giant spider thing, which is creepy. Reading it, I was still cringing insanely. And it ends with Frodo being captured and Sam realizing he's not dead when he thought that Frodo was dead. It was weird. It was like it started out ahead and then it ended up falling a little bit behind. Right now, the books are kind of ahead of the movie, at least with Frodo and Sam's journey. Overall, I would say that the movies actually add more than actually take away. They take a couple things away here and there. I mean, I have the extended editions. There's more there probably than what was actually in the actual movie release. It did add a whole lot more, I think, than actually take away anything, because there's a whole lot more conflict that happens in the movie than in the book. Because compared to the movie, their journey is pretty smooth. Not a ton happened. One of the main things was with Faramir. Frodo and Sam and Gollum end up getting captured by Faramir and his little group while they're traveling to Mordor. Faramir, in the book, he keeps them kind of captive for a little bit, but they're not really in danger or anything. You don't feel like Faramir's mean or anything. You actually really like him. He ends up talking with Frodo and Sam, and they end up revealing about the ring and everything, and he decides right then and there, okay, I will let you continue on your journey. And in the movie, there's this whole big part where Frodo and Sam are literally taken with Faramir and his crew, and Faramir is set on taking the ring back to Gondor, which does not happen in the book. He maybe considers it briefly, but for the most part he's like, okay, you can go on ahead, and I will do what I can to protect you. Same with the Ents. In the books, Merry and Pippin tell Treebeard about what's going on, and then they go to gather all the other Ents to see if they're going to go to war, and then they actually agree right then and there that they're going to go to war, and then they go off to Isengard. In the movie, the Ents actually say no, and it takes Pippin and Merry to bring Treebeard to Isengard to see what Isengard has done for them to rise up. My character opinions were kind of different a little bit, mainly with two, mainly with Gollum and mainly with Frodo. So Gollum in the movie, I still love Gollum in the book, but Gollum in the movie is just so fantastic. He's evil, but he's so cute, and you see he's battling with this inner turmoil between evil and good. He finally gets rid of this evil Gollum character, and he's Smeagol, and your heart melts, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. And the voice comes back, and then he really becomes evil and messes with Sam and Frodo. In the book, it's not like that at all. There's a brief time where he's happier and everything, but he's still pretty evil, and Gollum decides pretty early on that he is going to bring them to Shelob's lair and kill them. You see that he's more evil, and the ring has truly corrupted him. You don't really see a chance for him to actually become good in the book. Frodo is a lot nicer to Sam in this book. He is. Him and Sam don't argue about it, and he's pretty much just as suspicious about Gollum as Sam is, but Frodo is a whole lot nicer about it. In the movie, Frodo is like, why are you being such a jerk to Gollum? Because he's Gollum, okay? He's cute and fluffy on the outside. Well, not fluffy. Mean and horrible on the inside, really. I liked their relationship better in the book, actually, than in the movie, a little bit. But that's because Frodo, overall, I liked a whole lot better in this book. Frodo in the movies drove me absolutely insane. I love Elijah Wood, and he did a fantastic job with Frodo. Frodo was like the hero who did absolutely nothing, and in fact, probably got them into more trouble than in the first place. And that happens a lot in this movie and the last movie. Ugh, it's so frustrating in that movie watching Frodo. He gets obsessed with the ring, he keeps fighting with Sam and not paying attention and trusting Gollum more than he should. The scene where Faramir takes him away, the Nazgul thing is there, he has this creepy face of like, he's here. He ends up going up to the Nazgul and almost putting the stupid ring on, and it takes Sam to drag him down, and then he points a sword at Sam. I felt like Sam was constantly saving him, or the rest of the crew were constantly saving him, and all he had to do was carry the ring. And I get, the ring is all powerful, and it corrupts you and makes you a bad person in a way. He should be able to do something, okay? He should. Like, even in Shelob's lair in the third movie, I know I'm overlapping, but that wasn't this. Like, he gets stuck in the web, and you're like, Frodo, oh my gosh, and then when he escapes, he still ends up getting stung by that spider. Frodo needs to get his act together immediately. In the book, however, he's not that bad. He doesn't do all this stuff. They added a whole lot more in the movie with that. And Frodo is actually tolerable, and you feel like he's actually doing stuff. There are moments in there where, like, the ring is really heavy to bear and everything, but it's not corrupting him as much. He's not being mean to Sam. He's suspicious about Gollum, but he's still trusting him somewhat, and he's just a whole lot nicer about it. So I feel like in the book, which is really weird, he does actually a lot more to help people than in the movie. I like him better in the book than in the actual movie, because, gosh, if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because he doesn't do anything except carry that ring And he still almost gets them killed like 24/7. Legolas is by far still my favorite character, not just because of Orlando Bloom, but he just kicks butt in the movies, and in the books he's still pretty awesome. He's like, he has no fear, he doesn't really feel anything, he's just awesome. He has two of his amazing epic moves in this movie. First of all, he's like shooting arrows at the orcs, right? And then like the horses come up behind him and he just flips on it. He grabs it and flips and turns around, hops on the horse and just continues. And it is awesome. In the battle at Helm's Deep, he like takes like this shield, rides it downstairs, shoots a couple of orcs, and then uses the shield as a weapon. He's awesome! Yeah, there are certain things that they added in the Battle of Helm's Deep that I really, really liked. For example, in the Battle of Helm's Deep, the elves come in, which is pretty awesome, and you just feel excitement when they come in because you really don't think anybody's gonna help them. In the books, the elves don't come. They don't come in the books. I was really happy to see in the book that Legolas and Gimli still have that back and forth about counting the number of orcs that they killed, because for some reason I thought that was not going to be in the book. I thought that was a movie thing that they added, and reading that I was so happy and I was like, this is great, and it was just as great as in the book as it was in the movie. We're also introduced to Eowyn in the book though. Like, Eowyn is a lot smaller of a part to begin with, and then also the whole thing with Arwen isn't in the main story. From what I've heard, it's in the appendix part of the book, which that's in the third one, and I haven't gotten to that yet. But in the actual main story, you don't know that Aragorn's with Arwen. You kind of think for a little bit that maybe he is going to end up with Eowyn. That's mainly all I have to say about this. The movie is fantastic. I watched that first. The book is really great too. It is a little bit different, not as much conflict as in the movies, but still overall really, really great and a whole lot of fun to read. Well, I suggest you go out and read it. It can be kind of tough to get through a little bit if you're not into fantasy that much, but if you are, it is a really great book, and it got a 4.4 on Goodreads for a reason. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to try to do this more often, where I compare and contrast the book and the movie, because it's a whole lot of fun. Let me know what you think. And if you have any other movie suggestions or book suggestions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll definitely check them out and watch them and read them to my heart's content, and then I'll do a review on them probably eventually. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful, fantastic, awesome day. By the way, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my thing is Living the Stage Life XOTiff. I'll leave it in the description. Have an awesome, fabulous, wonderful day, and go watch Lord of the Rings if you haven't already. Thank you. Have an awesome day. Goodbye. Whew. I wanted to do that really badly. All right, bye.